Okay, part one of this, and I want to show you also a really cheap and economical way this is to do your big roses, and I'll prepare ahead so you're not having to suffer all the slow bits. There is a way, you don't even need crepe paper, so I've just got normal old paper towel. This is the cheapy paper towel. Doesn't even have perforations, but I just get it from, this I get from Bunnings, and because of all this pandemic stuff, you know. So I just want you to tear off, or if you've got paper towels, it's got the squares, well and good, but you need about 15 squares. So we just do a whole bunch. Hang on, what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. You can see how rough these are. 5, 6. I've already done 7 and 8 here, but I'll show you. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like I said, it seems like a lot of paper, but like I said, this is super thin and it's 14. This sort of paper is probably not a bad idea because it is really thin, but you can use regular paper towel. So the shape you're cutting is basically, I'm using the width of the paper towel, and it's a bit like a squashed love heart. It's not sharp, and you don't go to the points either. So it's like a squashed heart. And basically it's like the width of whatever the paper towel is. So no clear measurements, I think. Hang on, I've got a measure tape anyway if you want to be super precise. It is about 19 centimetres or 7.5 inches wide by, well, if you go from the centre roughly, about 6 inches, just over 6 and about 16. So, like I said, no fuss on that type of thing. And even when I'm cutting it, I'll just cut a few at a time. I'm just folding them, and I'm starting with a square sort of part for the heart, making him a bit of a fat one, and then, oops, hang on, missing some of the paper, and then I'm just curving it so we don't have it too sharp, see? So it's just like a squashed heart. So we're doing that on all of those. Like I said, this one's just using stuff you've already got, where you really don't need to go out and buy stuff. Like I said, this is just and it's probably a good way of using up some stuff if you don't want to mess around with paper towel. But yeah, like I said, it's so easy and rough. Okay, as you can tell by my rough looking old petal. But this is the beauty of these. You don't have to fuss. And like I've even done those a bit different ones, a fatter heart. Again, it doesn't really matter. So what we're doing first, when you got a heart, go and get just a normal skewer. Even a pencil would work, like just a normal straight old pencil. Hang on, let me grab a pencil so you can see as well. I'm trying to film this on the kitchen bench. Okay, I've got a pencil. Alright, so you can also use, like I said, a pencil. Doesn't really matter. The first thing we're going to do, because this isn't crepe paper, I want them to look all scrunchy. So we're just taking the heart and we're just rolling it around the pencil. So I'm rolling them sideways, so. And then what I'm doing around the pencil, I'm actually just squashing it up. And you're thinking, Karen, you're making a mess. So squash it up and then unsquash it. And then gently, see, I've got a real big squash there, but gently unroll your petal. Okay? So we've got a very squashed looking heart, and that's okay. That's what we're looking for. It's to create that whole crepe paper effect. then you can take your pencil again. So I'll move that. On the top, so here how nice and squishy is. On the tops of these two petals, we're going to take your pencil again and we're going to grab those curves and we're just going to roll in a few times. And again, I'm squishing it up, unsquish it a bit, and then pull my pencil. And that's to get our curl on the petal. So, and I'm going to do that again on this side. So it only needs a few rolls, bit of a squash, unsquash, just to get our petal rolling, see? So that's what we're looking for. So cut out your hearts, like I said, if you want. Get your crepe paper if you want, but this is only just ordinary old paper towel. This paper towel, it's sort of a semi-white, but I'll show you how you'd hand colour those in the next video. So again, take a pencil, just roll it up. Like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy because we don't need it in fancy. And sometimes the better that they are a bit on the rougher side. So give it a bit of a squish, then unsquish, and then unroll. Okay. We can do a little bit of smoothing out, but see how nice and wrinkly he is. Then we've got our pencil, and we're doing that on all the petals. A little bit of a squish, unsquish, take your pencil out, roll, little bit of a squish, unsquish, take your pencil out, okay? So, and I want you to do that on the whole 15 petals. Like that one I'd already squished, but I haven't done the corners. So I'll just show you again. That one we've done a squish for the whole petal. And I'm just giving that a couple of rolls, bit of a squish, take it out. Take a roll, bit of a squish, take it out, okay? So you find with these, because with paper towel, to get that nice roll, you can roll just under them, but I'll show you that when we start to build it, okay? So that's how we are building our petals. So again, this one I've already squished. I'm rolling them sideways to give the whole thing a squish. Like I said, it's only loose, not tight. Squish, bit of grip, unsquish, take your pencil out, unroll, okay? And that's just so what we're doing, because we're only using paper towel, which is actually quite good because it's a nice body to it, and it's creating a crepe paper look, so we get that nice sort of wrinkly petal with the veins all through it. So in the corners, a couple of rolls, squish, unsquish, pencil out, couple of rolls, squish, unsquish, pencil out. So I'll go and prepare the others and then I'll come back for the next part of the video. Okay, step 2, we've got our trusty paper towel. We're going to take off a couple of big lengths. Now, roughly the length of this is your size of your petal. So you go 1 petal, whoops, I've got 2 there, 2 petal. So roughly that's the size that we're looking for. So whatever your petals are, we're just using that. And we're actually just tearing it because it doesn't matter how rough. And I'm going to need 3 of those. Okay, so this is where your trusty paper towel is really good because, like I said, sometimes these are better when they're not perfect. So what we're going to do with these lengths, we are going to scrunch them in the middle and we're going to twist it. All right, so I'm just scrunching that one and twist. Get down there. The next one, same. Scrunch it in the middle, just like a gigantic bow. Twist it a couple of times. Another one, twist, scrunch it up. Now, why are we scrunching? Because we are just layering those over. And what we are doing, then we're just bringing them all down here to scrunch, it's like a doll, because that is going to be the throat of our rose. And like I said, this is why I've got 3, just one thing, because it'll bulk out nicely. So that's what we're doing there. So we can put a bit of tape around that if you want, probably a good idea. I'll have to get the sticky tape hang on 2 secs Do you want to grab me the tape out the cupboard? I forgot the tape, so Linus is my trusty assistant today. So, because I should have had what prepared earlier. So, and thank you. So, we just need a bit of tape. So I'm just taping that to hold it. So it looks a bit like a deflated balloon, doesn't it? So we are also, you can use craft glue if you want, but I actually have a glue gun. Now, I'm hoping that you would have a glue gun. And mine, Linus actually ended up making me an entire glue station, we call it, because it holds all the sticks. My glue gun is a big one, so it takes the big sticks. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to start building this rose. So you can use a skewer. These ones are chicken skewer things, but these are actually fatter than a standard chicken skewer. If you're really desperate, use an old pencil and you can use it as a stem. But this here is just a chicken skewer, and it doesn't even matter if you've got them flat chicken skewer things as well, that'll do fine. So the first thing is we are gluing the throat to the stick. So this is where I use a lot of hot glue. So I'm just going to run my glue all the way down there and I'm just going to stick it on. Okay, because that is going to be the basis of our rose. All right. Get that sticky on there, that's nice, that's good. Okay, it doesn't have to go all the way up because once we start building on it, it'll be okay. So, how do we start building on it? We've got all my petals that I showed you in the earlier section, and I've scrunched them, I've got them all tilted. So, this throat is going to sit in the middle of the petals. So what we are doing, I already had a bit of glue on that one, so we're just gluing a little bit of glue along the way, and make sure you don't burn yourself if you're using hot glue, because I get lots of burns from hot glue. So that is petal 1. So petal 2, I'm actually flipping it over to have 2 petals, like they're opposite each other. But what I'm doing is, see how I'm pinching that petal in? What I don't mind to do, rather than have it sort of really floppy, I sometimes find it's best to put just a dot of glue up each side a little, particularly with the starter ones. So, because we don't want it too floppy. All right. And I just got it there. And that way it's just holding that little bit nicer. So we're then going to start this one by face down. So same principle, put a little bit of glue on. Okay. And then I'm going face down. And I'm just bringing that glue up and around. I would do the same thing. I'm probably going up about 2 centimetres or an inch, just with, again, a slight dab of glue, just to hold the throat in nicely. Okay, so that is our rose. Hang on, I'll swing the video around. Whoops, because I've got here. So that is looking down. So far, we've got the 3 twisted, and we've got a petal 1 and a petal 2. So now we're going to start building, again, all these petals. Hang on, I'll swing it around. So we're going to be using all these petals and we're going to be building the rose. And now we've got our throat, the 1 and 2. Start the next petal over those. Make sure you don't move them too high up because it'll lose it, and make sure you don't go too far past it either. It's a good idea to just line up the tops of the petals. So we are building the rose. So a bit of glue, and I'm putting that down there, and I'm wrapping that around. Now again, I don't want these flopping too much, so again I'm using a little dab of glue at the very top. Sorry, I've got one of the cats meowing in the back. She's just belly aching really bad. So we then take it. So now we've got petal 1, petal 2 and petal 3. So now I'm doing petal 4 opposite. So, bit of glue. My God, she won't shut up today. So we're going down. Bit of glue. Little bit there, little bit there. If you haven't got a glue gun, go and buy yourself one. It'll be the best thing you'll ever find in your crafting toolbox. So now I've got 4 petals. I've got the throat, I've got 1, 2, and then the opposites, 3 and 4. So now we start the overlapping of the petals. So one petal at a time. Right, so where you can see we've got our last ones that are overlapped there and there. What I'm wanting to do is attach it there, and then I'm going to start building around. So, always easiest to glue on the petal than it is to glue on the flower. So, overlapping just there, lining up again so it's not too hot. We're starting the glue. All right, so, and you can see how that one petal has gone on. Again, he's a floppier one, so I'd rather just tack him up the side a little. So he's starting to open, but I don't want him to open yet. So let me just tack him there. So we've got that. So now we are just layering each petal over the last. So it ends up then like a whole circle around the rose. So some of my paper petals here are big, some are a bit small. It doesn't matter. Like I said, sometimes it's better off not to have them so orderly. So see how we're starting to blend? And that one that's not flopping bad. So, oh yeah, tell a lie. So again, I'm using a bit up there. It's the thing when you're dealing with the papers, you really got to work out, is it a floppy paper or is it a solid paper? You could do these, I suppose, even out of printing paper, but they'd be a bit stiff, I think. So again, I'm just layering the petals at the right height, tacking them on. A bit of glue. I think with the paper towel, it probably does need more of the tacking. I know if we do them in crepe paper, you don't tend to have to tack it high as much, where this is a softer flower. I tell you what, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the paper towel. It's coming along really nicely. So, again, we're overlapping and we're making sure it's even. Still got a whiny bum kitty complaining. So, again, a little bit of tack. Just there, just hold that one. And again, a little just there. Alright, we're getting there. There's only a few petals to go. Look how gorgeous that's looking. So, another petal. Now remember I think it was 15 petals I did. Like I said, I probably overkilled, but it won't matter. The more petals you go, the bigger the rose. So, again, a little tack dot. Another tack dot. Get there and get there. Oh, this is looking lovely. I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals to go, and then we can see this entire flower. Where am I? Overlap there. Again, a little bit of a tack up there, a little bit of a tack there. Like I said, it just holds it nicely without it flopping. Oh, so I had more petals than I realised. So I've got another, 4 or 5 petals there, and that's already a big rose, but like I said, we can make it as big as you need to. Tacking again, because it is a bit floppier. Be careful you don't burn yourself with the hot glue, because that's what I tend to do a lot. It's a bit like those oven burns on the back of your hand, they sting. And a bit more. Then my overlapping. Oh, got it there. Got it there. Got it there. heck? This is looking very lovely. That's actually a really beautiful rose. I want to show you a couple of cheap things too. I cut 15 petals there, but I actually think I'll just use this one last, and that will make it lucky 13 petals, because I don't want it any bigger. So I'm just tacking those last little bits up the sides. Right. Now, see how that is a very open rose here? You can actually get your glue gun, which I'm going to. I'm just dropping a little bit of glue down inside the throat because I want it closed a little bit more there. And I just think it's better, hang on, where are we? That if I close it just a little bit more, I'm just dropping the glue down there, so wherever it lands. So that is how we increase the blooms. Now we've got all this, and you're probably thinking, what do I do with that? Yes, you could use normal old sellotape, sticky tape, if you want. I might just stick that around to just hold it a bit more. But what I use is actually the green florist tapes, and you can get this at Spotlight in the where all they have all the artificial flowers. And it's one of these things, when it's warm in your hands, it sticks to itself. So I'm just gonna, yeah, mine's very old, and that's what happens when it's old, it tears. So I'm trying to, because it's probably a bit cold too. Right, so I'm just going to wind that down. You can still see my white through it, but I just want to get it down. And we'll just go down a little bit more. Right, and I'm just rolling, rolling, rolling. That'll do. Then I'm going to pinch that off, and I'm actually going to start up here again because I can still see my white. Now, you can get really creative and cut all your leaves to do that in green, or you can colour them in green. But what I'm going to show you is how we colour this. Now, this is just, like I said, a very loose white rose. It's actually really beautiful in white. So, till the next video. So Linus is the videographer. What I've got here, it's just a little pink paint, and it's in a spray bottle, and like you can actually get that, but any water-based paint in a little spray bottle, make sure you put a bead or a marble in there. And this is just a dusky pink. With a white rose like this, you can actually just lightly colour it, if you're only wanting like the fringe of it, to get just that sort of mixture of white and pink. I don't mind the spots, they do dry out. You can do it again after. Like I said, mine is running out, so mine's very spotty, so you'll have to excuse my very spotty. And I don't think I'd do any more. See, now because it's wet and windy, I'm actually going to dry it upside down rather than up, because the water on it will make it flop more. But that's how you do your colouring, very subtle. So, and I just use a water-based paint in a little spray bottle. So that's it. Enjoy. There is a beautiful blush flower. So this is just it inside, so you can get to see it more. It's beautiful. It looks like a fragile rose. What I have done with mine in the tea room is I started in the centre a little bit of the yellow, and then I've bled out the pink to get the blush colour on the rose. So there you have it done. That's a paper towel rose.